10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us on this Thursday, May the 28th, 2025. I can't believe, again, May. We have one more day of the show in May, tomorrow on Friday, and then the weekend, and then it's June already. June 2025. I can't believe how fast time flies. We're here live on CKLU 96.7 FM as we are each and every weekday morning. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download it also and take us with you and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. You can also, while you're there, check out some of the merch. If you purchase it, it will go towards helping out the station. We rely 100% on people like yourself. It's Sudbury's campus and community radio station. We've been around since 1984. We started off in a humble trailer in Ramsey Lake Road and Laurentian's main campus, and now we're located on the corner of Elgin and Elm Street in the MacEwan School of Architecture complex, if you will, the old Telegraph building. I'm coming at you remotely through technology. What an age we live in. And one of my remote studios, however, we're patched through the studio on the corner of Elgin and Elm, and that's where most of our hosts will host their shows from. And again, thanks to you for keeping this station alive. It's only due to people like yourself and your support to keep our community radio station going. We got a great show planned for you today. We're also streaming live at youtube.com, facebook.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, all of the things that you can do with our social medias to help build the community, help get the more people that are on will get the algorithms to recognize it and put it in front of more eyeballs, I guess, as a suggestion, possibly. And mainly, though, comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. And we'll also be found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News, which is formerly Twitter. The platform formerly known as Twitter. And also on our news aggregating website, Sudbury.news. You just click on the Sudbury News Talk tab at the top right. And you can watch yesterday's show or the show the same day right after the show, because basically I set it to go on demand immediately following the show. So there's 4 main platforms that this show is found on demand, along with if you listen live on the radio or live on YouTube and Facebook. So we're doing our best to get as many platforms, get our show on as many platforms as we possibly can. And we're grateful for all of y'all's support, those who support us financially by going to sudburynews@gmail.com. We really appreciate you. You know who you are, and thank you very much. And I feel bad when somebody donates. I feel like, oh no. At the same time, I do know that we have, we don't have the most expenses in the world for just this show. I know CKLU does have way more expenses than we do as a show. I'm going to tally it up at some point, but it's something like I don't know, $3,000 a year, something like that for this show. And it's all volunteer. I just volunteer my time. So there's, some things that need to be done to the website, security features, hosting, upkeep, and then there's the hardware, the software, subscriptions, and yeah, so that would total about that. And then any new hardware that needs to be purchased or whatever. And I know some of you even donated some hardware recently, so I'm thankful for that. So it's all a community here. We're all in this together, trying to understand and make sense of a world that seems to be getting more and more confusing to some degree, and trying to make sense of the world, our country, our province, our region, our city, and shed some light on some things. So on that note, let's just dive in. We're going to cover some of the local news here. Hopefully we'll have time for a deep dive. Not even sure what we're going to be talking about today. We'll see how the conversation goes, where it takes us, as this is partly it's all your show, and wherever the comments take us, we'll see what we can do with a customized deep dive today. We'll be right back after the weather with your comments and more, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great show, or your money back. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it's 13 degrees. It's mostly cloudy out there. Today it will remain cloudy with a 40% chance of showers, high of 18. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 10. And then tomorrow, becoming cloudy in the morning with a 60% chance of showers late in the morning and in the afternoon. Risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon as well. Wind will be gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour in the afternoon, and then the same throughout the day, high of 20. And then, just in time for the weekend, this is a rare look at the forecast. You got sunny Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, with a high of 16, high of 17, high of 23, high of 26. For Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now, I will believe that when I see it. However, that's what Environment Canada is telling us. So we'll take it, even as a positive forecast. 30% chance of showers then on Wednesday. And a look at your satellite taken as of, looks like last night. So it looks like our satellite here seems to be a little behind the times for some strange reason. But as it goes to, that was interesting what it just did there. So then it just took the satellite right off. Well, thanks for that. I get my weather on the CBC website. There's anyone watching knows that. And so there we go. Let's see if we will get anything sooner. So we'll go like this, then we'll go like that. And 12:30 a.m. we'll get a little more recent, like this, like that. Well, it's as of 2:30 a.m. You can see those clouds rolling in. Possible precipitation just to the south of us. Anyways, that is your Sudbury weather. Brought to you by sudburyweather.ca, and we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, thanks for sticking around, all y'all. And we got YouTube coming in first this morning. Northern Hillbilly, shout out to him. Good morning to you. They're still banging on about the COVID, and our politicians are still in bed with the WHO. Will Canadians worship their king? I just can't say certain words on the air. Even some of those words were, you just mention things and the algorithms just don't like things these days. So I try to translate on the fly. And Nana, good morning. Blessings to everybody. heart emoji, exclamation point. Thank you very much, Nana. And Northern Hillbilly says, when Carney sides with the with P. Diddy and all of the other ones along with that, and the Golden Dome, he will side with the United States. That should open up their minds to the surveillance state and CBDC system. But don't hold your breath, right? And again, I'm translating a little bit of that, and I hope you appreciate that. We know that things are getting more and more surveillance in our world. China's the model, according to my chair in university. And if we look at what's going on there, we know that it's headed here. At least that's the plan, unless people somehow prevent it. But yeah, cameras everywhere, surveillance everywhere, digital currency, universal income, full on. You know, the king in his throne speech, and I guess it was Mark Carney's speech, according to Miles Shields, which I was not aware. I thought the speech would have been given by the king, written by the king, but it was written by Mark Carney, presented by the king. Talks about the transformational time that we're in, and we're in a transition. And we're going to not have seen as much transformation since World War II, right? But they don't say how. So a lot of these things, I believe, are what you just pointed out. And Brian, good morning to you on YouTube. And Judy, good morning on Facebook. Monique, good morning, Sudbury, with a cool shade smiley emoji. Marianne, good morning, everyone, from Wet Berry. Yes, I can see in the satellite that just to the south of us is all that rain, right where you would be. And you're going to share it with us. And Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much needed. Thank you very much, Hazel. Always welcomed and always needed. And good morning, Pat. Good morning from Brandon, Manitoba. Peace sign. Good morning to you, Pat. You're a traveling person as well, on the road from many places. I believe you're coming from Saskatchewan the last time. And Monique, May the 29th, Grand Rising. I wonder if I put the right date on today's video. I hope I did, because I was tempted to put the 28th. But anyways, I might have even said that this morning in the show. I have a little bit of a brain fog this morning. And Liette, good morning. Hand clap from Collingwood. Sheila, good morning from Quebec. 3 smiley emojis. Much appreciated. Yeah, I have to still look at the Rumble possibility. And yeah, it's usually you got to do something out of necessity. And as long as things are still moving along, time is of the essence, and it's not easy. Change is not easy. So Northern Hillbilly says, until people understand who is the driving force behind the hidden hand, it'll keep getting worse. Well, that's the thing. I think there's a segment of the population that just it doesn't care to know, doesn't want to be bothered as long as life is going on, and there's still food in the grocery store, there's still money in their bank account, still gas at the gas stations. Even inflation could triple or quadruple, just like we've seen over the last few years, and people will still not bat an eye to what's really going on. But there's always going to be a segment of the population like that. I really don't see like a time where the majority of the people, wake up to the real reality of how things are really set up with the governing structure of the world, let's say, and how things are really done. I just don't see that. Our last election was probably a really great example of that. And then the last 5 years, now going on 6 years, is another example of that worldwide. Marianne, guess we will have paid enough carbon taxes if it happens. Can't remember what statement I might have said that goes along with that, but that's okay. It will come to me, Marianne. And Dan, good morning to you. Good morning from Betty from the Niagara region. Thanks for being on. And Marvin, notmyking.ca. Interesting. I have never checked that website out. I will go to that, check it out, but I definitely hear the sentiment in the name of that URL, in the name of that website. And Marvin joins us from Alberta. Marianne, people need to stop Bill C-63 and Bill C-293. Bill C-63 and Bill C-293. I believe that's one of those are the Online Harms Act, and I think the other one goes along with it, all designed to stop freedom of speech in this country. Behind the statement that it's to protect children, politicians are usually pretty good with things like that, naming bills to get the public's support behind it. Well, of course we want to save the children. Who doesn't want to save the children? It's like if you called the Feed the Hungry bill, but then behind that you were basically going to try to save the planet by making farmers not be able to use fertilizer and not grow as much and things like that, but you called it Feed the World bill. Of course, people are going to go get behind it because it sounds like you want to feed the world, where in fact, you're actually doing the opposite. If you look at the Patriot Act, switching gears to a different country, same idea. The Patriot Act was everything but. It took away habeas corpus from the United States, which is you are innocent until proven guilty. Took that right away with one stroke of a pen with the Patriot Act. And you think, patriot? Oh, I'm a patriot to my country. Well, this took away your rights as a citizen. Right? So it's the opposite. The bill's name is usually something everyone can get behind because it's like a no-brainer. And then the actual wording of the bill has the opposite effect in it. It's a weird phenomenon that's been going on in recent years in the United States and Canada. Something to look into. And good morning, Vin. Thanks for being on. And Betty, why is it people can't see yet what's happening in our country? Well, it's the human mind is very complex. People are very complex. Where do we get our opinions from? We get it from what we consume on a daily basis. We get it from our family, our friends, our worldview. And once our university experience, our teachers, media, especially, and that's where we get our opinions from. If that's where you get your opinions from, well, a lot of those can be compromised. A lot of those, places we get our opinions from can be compromised. All right? So it is what it is. And yeah. I marvel at it myself where someone can just, but there's been many experiments, and Billy's really great to be on the show talking about a lot of these experiments that have been done over time. Many experiments showing how the human mind works, and you'll usually go with consensus, what the masses go with. That's why there's a term called sheeple. Just people will follow without knowing why. I have no problem with following myself. I think that's the reason why there's leaders in this world, and following good leaders who have good information, who have integrity and There's, you can follow them to a certain extent, but you should never follow to the extent where you forfeit your right to think or your obligation to think for yourself, think critically, and know where your suggestions or your opinions are coming from, knowing where you got them from. And Sheila says, sad, our political differences are spilling out on our city streets between two countries and nothing being addressed other than catch and release. Interesting. And Marianne says, Bill C-293 is 6 pages long and has ties with the WHO and our food supply. Speaking of making an act called Feed the Hungry or whatever I said. Bill C-293. What is the slogan I keep seeing in Southern Ontario? Farm to table, something like that, where they support the farmers. You don't see it up here, but you see it down there where there's a lot of farms north of Toronto. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of legislation, proposed legislation, some legislation that's already kind of went through that is contrary to supporting our farmers and our food supply. Again, by design, incompetence, just by accident. These bills don't get written by accident, right? So again, Bill C-293, look into it for yourself. Why not? Hey, instead of watching Netflix one night, just curl up with a good bill of 6 pages long. Get educated. And Andrew, good morning to you. Sheila, yes. And Betty says, yuck. We have a stranger sitting in the leader's place. How can this happen? So we're talking about Mark Carney, who, he answered, well, he didn't answer. He took 2 questions yesterday in the House of Commons, and then he walked out. That's interesting. And he answered the questions in such a way where he had a smirk on his face. It was almost like just kind of joking his way through, like he's everyone's best friend in the House of Commons. Didn't answer a thing of what was asked of him. And then walked out and left the rest of his newly elected MPs handle the questions, one of which was one of his best friends from Goldman Sachs, who he brought in, and said, just read from a paper. He hasn't been a politician before, right? So he's just reading from a paper, talking points. It was very interesting. It was an interesting day in Parliament yesterday. Okay, no, that's not a problem, Northern Hillbilly. And so Monique is saying, an old Hopi prophecy, the East will invade the West. And so it is. You can't find that video anymore. And this is the problem I have with Rumble. So everyone says, well, go to Rumble. Well, Rumble's search isn't the greatest. You have to actually say the exact name of the video in order for it to find it. And so the video could be on Rumble, but in order to find it, you need to know the exact name of the video or whoever uploaded it called it. Or pretty darn exact. You have to get like some exact words of the video. You can't just search generally. I don't think they have a very robust search. So it could be there. But yeah, I've noticed so many videos are not available anymore. Things that I've watched as well. It is very frustrating. You go to show someone, well, yeah, no, I know this is, and then you try and explain it, but you're like, you can't explain it as good as this person who's put so much time and energy into researching and making a video. So you want to play the video for them, and you can't find it anywhere. Very frustrating. People are asleep. We only wake up when they're affected. That's for sure. Yeah, if their bank accounts are affected, or grocery stores, or gas, things they need to live. It's the only time they'll demand change. Good morning, Jerome. Save the children as they disappear by the thousands. Sad times. Yeah, I saw a video yesterday talking about our missing persons in Canada compared to the world and compared to historically. Yeah, I think it was Blender News. And we are 4,000 times higher than, I think it was Nicaragua back in the day, where it was like the most dangerous country in the world, where the cartel were just kidnapping people left, right, and center. We're 4,000 times higher than them now in Canada. But yet that's not a story we hear on the CBC. You'd think that would raise alarm bells. Yeah. I wonder if I shared that. And I don't think because after a while I'm like, I just stop. Like, there's just so much information out there of so many things going on that it's, I don't know if I have this video. Too bad. It would have been perfect to share right now. That'll teach me. That will teach me. Okay, anyways, Liette Carney says expressing freedom is earned, and with that comes strength. How close are we to full-blown World War III? Perhaps that will wake the people up. Perhaps. And Betty says, what about the Golden Dome? Yeah. So it's going to cost us, $600 billion or something like that if we want to take part. Or if we become the 51st state, it'll be free. Right? We keep hearing this 51st state thing. And we do know there was a plan way back when to have the North American Union. And, and we were supposed to have a common currency called the Amero. That was in plans for years. So I'm not sure if this is just a backdoor way of making that kind of take place now. Word salad being spouted from the powers that be. Listen very carefully. They have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And that is true, Sheila. It's part of their formula of what they do. They have to tell you so they can say later that, I told them point blank what we were going to do. So they have no excuse. Thank you. Good answer from Honesty. Thank you very much, Betty. And so maybe I'll, in the meantime, try and find that. No, I won't. I got some stuff to cover from Sudbury here. So much going on in our great city. Sudbury.com. Headlines here from their Good Morning Sudbury segment, where they start your day with a few stories from the day before. Headline: Sudbury officer's guilty plea earns discharge after breaking man's face. A Greater Sudbury police officer has been granted absolute discharge by a Sudbury judge after he pleaded guilty to assault for breaking a man's face during a 2023 arrest. Greater Sudbury Police Constable Jean-Yves Lacasse, 29, was charged on June 12, 2024, with assault causing bodily harm by a Special Investigations Unit for an arrest that occurred on December 8, 2023. Lacasse has been an officer with the Greater Sudbury Police Service since 2019. Whatever discipline he may be subject to by Greater Sudbury Police Service will be at the discretion of the police chief, Sarah Cunningham. The case was actually a bit difficult to locate for media and the public while in the court system. Both on the court docket and in the Service Ontario registration, Lacasse's name was spelled differently with 3 S's. Well, that's interesting. Was that on purpose or by accident? So journalists wanting to cover this story, looking for it on the docket, spelling his name properly, would not have found it because instead of 2 S's in Lacasse, his name was spelled with 3 S's. Right? So again, I don't think police want bad publicity. Like, that's known. I don't think anyone wants bad publicity. But that's something that looked like was done on purpose to make sure that it wouldn't be found out. Obviously. That's just my own personal belief. Sale shouldn't limit access to Bell Mansion grounds, petition states. So Laurentian, is selling off a lot of its properties to appease their bankruptcy, with Laurentian University planning to list the Bell Mansion for sale. The Kingsmount Bell Park has put out a petition calling for continued public access of the historic Sudbury property. The John Street building, which was occupied by the Art Gallery of Sudbury for many years, was the home of pioneering couple William and Catherine Bell. Yes, those Bells, the ones who donated the land that now makes up Bell Park a century ago. The Bell Mansion property, also known as Bell Rock, was officially transferred to the Laurentian University in 1968 for a symbolic $1 to be used as a public museum or cultural center for the people of Sudbury as a centennial project. The Bell Mansion has been closed since October 2023 due to a repair issue, with Laurentian deciding in October 2024 that it should sell the property as it was too expensive to repair. So there you go. Should it still be used for public viewing as it was donated to Laurentian for $1? Should it be donated to another organization for the same, and then they can keep it going? Should they be able to sell it for a profit or whatever? I don't know. These are the questions we ask. Another question we ask is, why do we have to reduce the speed limits in the valley? Speed limits being reduced on MR80 through Hanmer. A number of road safety changes are being made to the east-west stretch on Municipal Road 80 from Valtadais to midway through Hanmer, including reduced speed limits, in which they are now already put up a speed trap camera. So that's great, right? Reduce the speeds, then put a camera there right away. Should make a killing. And it would make it safer. We're not sure how it's going to make it safer. We're not going to be given any numbers. We're told the reason it is being done is for our safety, but we'll never know how much more safer these cameras are making us, because we don't have the statistics in the first place of how dangerous they were to compare it to after. So the city will just keep saying, we know it's working because streets are safer, and then people will just let them away with that. And they'll collect millions of dollars, and we won't know really where the money's going. However, if it was going to make our streets smooth and roads properly made, I don't even know if people would care. I think I might speed on purpose through the odd one and say, there's my donation to making our streets smoother. In fact, then making them safer. Not just the speed limit being reduced, because we don't have statistics showing that these roads because they're 50 kilometers per hour are any more safe if they're 40 kilometers per hour. That's really, 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 you're wondering if people are that dumb. And if you're listening to the show, Zach, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. So, yeah. So they're being reduced, speed limits between Valparaiso midway through Hanmer. They're long-sought actions, according to Ward 5 Councillor Mike Perrant, who serves in the area. During both last week's Operation Committee meetings, the City Council and conversation with Sudbury.com this week, Perrant sought to mitigate public backlash with context. Not everyone will be happy with the city lowering speed limits, he said. The catalyst to this was a petition, he said, of changes made to MR 80. The community asked for this study. The city didn't just do it on their own. I got to click on this one. Tyler Clark writing on this story as well. The data shows there's an issue, Perrant said, adding that although some people will be frustrated with the changes, they're being made for public safety. Okay, let's hear some of these, the data that shows us how unsafe those streets were. From Frost Street, we're just going to go which streets they're lowering the speed limits on. So from Frost to the eastern edge of Valparaiso, east to Garden Avenue and Hanmer, the speed limit's being reduced from 80 to 70. Where it's 70, it's going to be 60. They're reducing it 10 kilometers. So I'd like you in your car today, all y'all, when you're going a certain speed, let's say you're going 80 or you're going 70 or you're going 60, whatever you're going at the time, if you're able to reduce your speed 10 kilometers, because this will be like an experiment you can do, because people can do their own experiments too. And it's not just scientists. So while you're in your car, reduce your speed 10 kilometers and ask yourself, do I feel safer now? If everyone was reducing their speed 10 kilometers per hour, how much more safer is that going to make you feel, or how much safer do you think it's going to make the roads? Right? So, and then I don't understand here, if he does give some data, I'm looking for it. Where's the data? Okay. Across the affected MR 80, the city recorded 106 collisions from 2015 to 2023, including 84 at intersections and 22 at mid-block segments. The most collision-prone intersection was at, Deschênes and Elmview Drive, where 32 accidents occurred. One of the main themes that was found in reviewing the collision history was the excessive speed was either a direct cause or an auxiliary cause of many of the collisions. City Traffic and Transportation Manager David Knutson said. Knutson's report shows 85th percentile speeds, the speeds at or below which 85% of the drivers travel, recorded in January, ranging from 5 kilometers and 14 kilometers above the posted speed limits, with maximum speeds in some locations of 46 kilometers above the posted speed limit. Okay, well, that's speeding. If you're going to speed that much, if you reduce the speed limit 10 kilometers per hour, people are still, if they're speeding, they're still going to speed. Like, right? So you put the cameras up for sure. Like there, if they're speeding, it's going to catch them. But we need to see the stats after these cameras are out. We need to see the stats now compared to the stats before. for all the locations if we really want them to make a good argument that it's for our safety. The city's review of speed limits along MR80 using Transportation Association of Canada's speed limit guidelines determined that the proposed reductions were warranted. Per Perron's concerns regarding public blowback after city council members voted in 2017 to lower the speed limit along MR80 between Yorkshire Drive and Dominion Drive to 70 from 80. Lapierre notched the only no vote due to public concerns about travel times. So Lapierre was the only one who said no. Within weeks of the change, several speed limit signs were vandalized to read 80 kilometers rather than the newly made 70 kilometer sign. Automated speed enforcement cameras have also been frequent victims of vandalization since they were first put in place last year. The changes to MR80 were first advocated by members of the public in 2019, and required traffic study was delayed due to the Maley Drive bypass project affecting traffic flow and then the COVID-19 pandemic. A unanimous operations committee of City Council approved the changes during last week's meeting, and their decision was anticipated to be ratified by City Council as a whole on Tuesday night. Okay, a very favorable article again by Tyler Clark. I think he's cozying up to certain councillors and the mayor, obviously, as a reporter. I wish he looked at them with as much critique as he does this show. And then we'd get some real reporting here. Their poll of the day: do you support the recent speed limit reductions on road safety changes along Municipal Road 80? The suggestions are yes, safety should be on the top priority, yes, but only if enforcement is increased. Ouch. No, the changes will cause unnecessary delays. No, I think other measures would be more effective. Or, I'm not sure, I need more information. I'm going to say the middle one, no, the changes will cause unnecessary delays. It's just me. I had a delivery business for many years, and I need to get to where I'm going as quick as possible and as safely as possible. But I need to get where I'm going, and everyone else needs to as well. That's what roads are for. That's what cars are for. So I'm voting here. So it looks like my vote had the most votes as well. 32.5% say no, the changes will cause unnecessary delays. So I'm not sure. So Mike is saying we have the public support here, but according to this very early on poll, doesn't look like there's much support for it. And then no, I think other measures would be more effective is 15%. So, but if you add the two together, the yes votes, they do amount to more than the no's. Just barely, though. So it's pretty neck and neck. Because there's two questions. There's two no questions and there's two yes questions. So the two no questions add up to 47%. And the yes questions add up to 50%. So it doesn't look like you have overwhelming support, Mike, for this. According to this, we'll check in with this poll tomorrow. And to check into with our poll yesterday, if people support Greater City of Sudbury's increasing its debt to nearly $600 million for infrastructure and development projects. Remember yesterday we said it's a little early on, there's not that many votes. Well, now the survey is in, and after 200 and some odd votes, 60% say no, the city should avoid taking on more debt. So again, we hear these politicians talking about, oh, they have the support of the community, I really appreciate these polls from Sudbury.com, because I don't think Sudbury.com is looked at either as a left or a right publication, although they definitely lean toward the left, and they are paid for in large part by our federal government's subsidies. These polls are very non-biased. The questions sometimes are leading, but not very much. And there you go. So this is a good way to find out how people actually feel about what's going on in the community. And you have 14% think that we should go $600 million in debt for infrastructure, only 14%. 60%, almost 61% say no, we should avoid debt. And 20% say only if projects are managed, essential and well managed. 11% need more information, right? So great on Sudbury.com for these polls. Keep it coming. That's all the time we have for the show today, but we wanted to mention that on this note that there's a presentation tonight at Grace Family Church, 6:00, corner of Jean and Burton Avenue. Tom Price and Bob Johnston will be putting that on. You can go there and watch it in person, take part, or you can watch it on Bob Johnston's Facebook. He'll be streaming it live. So that's tonight at 6:00, Grace Family Church. They'll be talking about this very issue, about the budget and the city's spending, and is it what we're being told, or is it more, and are they transparent or not? It's good to just kind of be asking ourselves these questions. Politicians should be held accountable, and if they are doing what we've put them there to do, we hold them accountable. If it's shown that they are doing things that are in our favor, great, but we should always be questioning and always be asking and always be holding their feet to the fire. That is what it is, and that's what happens when you get in that role. You should be very open to being held accountable. It just is what it is. This is our money. This is our city, and we are responsible for it, and we can make it whatever we want. And it's a community, and we can make it the kind of community that we want to make it, and it shouldn't be in a few people's hands to make these decisions when the majority of the people want it to be a certain way. Anyways, that's all the time we got for today. We appreciate you being on. Appreciate the community that we have here on the show and in our city. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms tomorrow, God willing. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a great and safe Thursday, May 28th, 2025, everyone. Ciao for now. And I have to make a correction. It's May 29th. I did it again. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.